在2009年1月20日，美国总统奥巴马的就职晚会上，奥巴马夫人身穿的一件白色单肩礼服，让一位名叫 Jason Wu 的年轻设计师一夜成名。然而，成功从来就不是偶然的。这位来自台湾的28岁的年轻人，早在17岁就当上了一家玩偶公司的创意总监。在2006年，他自创品牌，开始在纽约时装界崭露头角。今天我们就把 Jason 请到我们的演播室，和新唐人观众聊一聊他最近在忙些什么。Nice to have you here, Jason.
Thank
you
you
for coming. And I understand you also are participating in Christie's second annual Green Auction event.
Yes.
And you will contribute your design to be auctioned online.
Yes. Well, I was asked by the organizers of Runway to Green to be one of the 25 designers to be a part of this new event. Well, it's the first time Runway to Green is partnering up with Christie's to establish an event that really brings awareness to being green.
So how would you incorporate this kind of green awareness into your design?
Well, I work with over 40 fabric vendors per season on developing textiles. I work with vendors as textile designers from Italy, Paris, to Korea, to Japan, to the United States. It's a very global market, and Japan is known for great cottons, whereas Italy is really known for amazing textiles, different jacquards, and France is known for looming beautiful laces. And so we really take advantage of the fact that we have this reach and we can work with so many different kinds of materials, learning how to decipher what materials are more green.
We know that you spent your childhood in Taiwan, and you later studied at Vancouver, Tokyo, Paris, New York. So how has this kind of international experience influenced you and your design?
Well, just being a person who's traveled and lived in so many places, I felt like as a person I feel so fulfilled because I've had so many different experiences, and I think as a designer one has to have these kind of interesting experiences because it shaped up who I am as a designer. I my aesthetic is sort of a mix of all of my childhood experiences to the things I see on a day-to-day basis. And till this day, before I start collections, I generally like to travel a little bit, just because the more we see, the more we can absorb. Designers sort of like we sort of act like a sponge, and we sort of soak everything up, and we sort of blend it all together and filter it through our minds, and that's how we remain creative and inspired.
And we all learned that you like to play with dolls when you were a boy, and you also like to design clothes for dolls. I guess in a traditional environment such as Taiwan, people probably feel that this is not the right kind of thing to do for a boy. But you seem to know exactly what you wanted, and you never changed. How did you manage to do that?
Well, I think growing up, I had really supportive parents. My mother and my father, they were very supportive to me. They always encouraged me to go for what feels right for me. And I think part of my success is owed to my parents, who have recognized the fact that I was very artistic and I wasn't going to become a lawyer or an engineer. I wasn't set out to do that, and my parents really supported that and in fact nurtured it. And my mom used to take me to art classes every day after school and all these things. So I hope that by achieving some success, that I can help bring more awareness to Asia, especially to this generation's parents, that perhaps, and if your child is artistic, it's okay to support that.
Did you always want to be a designer?
I always did. I always wanted to be. I first wanted to be an artist. I was always into painting, and I was, always into like collaging or sculpting, and I did that for the, big part of my life. And I was really thinking I would go into fine arts. And when I moved to Vancouver with my mom, I came across a stack of fashion magazines, and I was reading it to practice my English, and I was so fascinated by all the designers and all the interesting techniques and how these garments were made, and almost like they are works of art. So I started learning more about fashion and decided that was going to be my goal. It was to become a fashion designer.
Well, talk about the night that made you famous. On the night of President Obama's inauguration, you saw on TV Michelle Obama wearing the dress you designed.
Yes.
You said you cried, then you called your mom.
Yes.
I found that quite touching because your mom was the first person you thought of calling at that moment.
Of course. I mean, my mother has been my biggest champion, continue to be my biggest fan and supporter. She's never missed any one of my shows. She flies from Taiwan to here twice a year to see all of my shows, always front row. And I felt like there was no one else I wanted to share this experience with other than my family, because it was such a special experience. Not only was it monumental for my career, it was also something that was quite meaningful in the sense that I came to America and I wanted to be a designer, and then became a designer, and through this event became a part of American history. And I think all of that was so meaningful.
Success to you seemed to have come overnight, but of course everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Nothing is accident. So what do you think are the most important qualities a person needs to have in order to be successful?
Dedication and a sense of being humble, I think, is very important. I think people say, everything happens so fast, but to me, it hasn't happened so fast because I've been working all my life for what I do now. I mean, I've worked since I was a little child towards this goal, and I've worked hard every single day of my life to become a designer. And there's so much behind the scenes things that people don't see.
That's so right. I have another question, and I'm sure a lot of our audience would want to ask the question.
Sure.
As you know, most of our viewers are Asian. So for Asian women, what do you think, or what would you see as some of the essential items that they should have in their wardrobe?
Well, I think there's a couple things. I think a fantastic bag is important because it's a really great investment piece. Having a bag that can take you from work to dinner, and that can last more than one season, and that's something you appreciate for a long time. And I always say, and that goes back to being green, is that my motto has always been quality over quantity, and that when you purchase clothes, it should be something that you want for a long time. Great dress, that's, I always say a reliable little black dress is always something that you can go back to time and again. And also a great pair of shoes.
Well, thank you, Jason. It's definitely been a pleasure to have you here.
You too.
We all wish you further success.
Thank you.